So check out this tree. It's actually quite a bit bigger than that one. Way taller. So I'm walking along talking to myself. Right off the bat, you'd think I'd notice something. Now I'm doing it a little more officially. I need one of those sticks though, you know. So I'm talking to myself about that tree and imagining. I don't see a little plaque on it that it's part of the like registry of historic trees, protected ones. And I'm like, wow, if there's a gap in legal coverage, I mean, it's not unimaginable that that house goes up for sale and gets purchased by an idiot who cuts down the damn tree before anyone notices. And then it's like, you know, you can't get a court-ordered stay while we test things and see whether or not we can protect the tree, even though it's not currently protected, and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just gone, nothing you can do about it. Because, you know, somebody who does that might be an idiot, but they're not stupid. They're not going to say anything. They're not going to go around advertising that they plan on cutting down some giant, epic dogwood tree. Doug fir, redwood, I don't know. Well, anyway. So I'm talking to myself about this, and then I noticed that I was like, well, I mean, you know, just because someone's culturally retarded doesn't mean that they're stupid. And then I was like, oh yeah, huh. It's really stupid to criticize someone for upholding our normal values. I mean, someone just sees a tree as just a thing, you know, maybe it's in the way. Well, I just helped my supposedly super progressive housemates completely clear out our yard of all the unwanted debris. Namely, all the other species that we choose not to like. And then I started defending this person in my mind, you know, I was saying like how stupid it is to criticize them for being really dumb. I imagined someone else criticizing them. And I was like, oh yeah, no, you can't criticize this person. You know, one man who cuts down one tree is a drop in the bucket compared to like our everyday business practices. I imagined someone in their Tesla rolling down the window of the $120,000 of the world's resources they need to get from A to B, and being disgusted at this man who cut down the tree as they drive off in their 1-year-old car that they're going to replace in 4 more years with another $120,000 of the world's resources tied up in their environmental sustainability. And then it hit me. Apparently only I am allowed to criticize things. And then it really started hitting me. Oh, so I realized, I'm allowed to criticize everything and everyone. He's stupid. He's a cultural idiot. But you, no one else is allowed to criticize anything. Oh, they're always wrong this way, they're wrong that way. I was just correcting some Reddit post where somebody said that putting children in cages is fascist, and I'm like, and it was on the Chomsky subreddit, and I'm like, oh, gnome would say that's not fascist. He's made it very clear that the times we live in today are nothing like the fascism that he actually lived through in the 40s, you know? But that's not, it's not whether or not I'm correct in each instance. It's looking at that whole pattern and stepping back and saying, holy shit. I mean, arguing with Gnome personally about civilization. I've been trying to get him to read Daniel Quinn's stuff and sending him essays, and then he just, you know, and then I'll say something like, hey, you know, you're condemning all of human nature based on the behavior of one group of people. You're just looking at the dominant group, and the dominant group lives very unsustainably, and then you're saying, oh, maybe it's human nature to live unsustainably, maybe aliens would certainly, the first thing they'd say is, oh, that's just an unviable species. I'm like, bullshit. First of all, you would never condemn a given race of man. So how dare you condemn the entire race of man? And then totally erroneously on the behavior of the dominant group, and then cowardly put in the mouth of some Martian. Like, what the hell is this shit? So you don't have the balls to say something, you have the Martian say it? I mean, it's not true. He's trying to say that it's objective, but it's anything but. It's anything but. And so we go back and forth for 30 or 50 emails. And then I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm the same as this dude. I'm the same as everyone that I criticize. As soon as Chomsky and logic is pointed out to Chomsky, he, you know, I tried to get him to read The New Renaissance, finally got him to click on a Quinn essay. And he just sees the cat in the mirror, man. He reads the first few paragraphs of Daniel Quinn's The New Renaissance, and then he, he's just arrogant. He's full of himself. I'm like, oh, that wasn't the point of him saying that he's speaking to these high-level healthcare providers. The point, never mind. You know, and it's just so, and then it's just like, how do you miss the theories? How do you miss the scientific part? You know, how do you miss the history of thought tidbits that you might not have quite known? Though he probably knew he probably knew all the history of thought stuff, knowing gnome. But the tower metaphor, the biomass conception, I'm certain that's very unlikely to have been anything he had already thought of. It's just commonly missed. And anyway, you know, the whole argument, it's if you Chomsky the Chomskys, they're never gonna let you get away with that shit. So there is a certain inconsistency there. But why am I putting this off on gnome? It's me, man. And that's what hit me and made me start to fucking cry. It's when I realized I'm allowed to criticize everything and everyone, and no one is allowed to criticize anything or anyone. If anyone says, oh, putting children in cages is fascist, I'm like, no, that's incorrect. If anyone says, oh, that guy who cut down that giant tree is an idiot, I'm gonna be, no, that's not, well, put it in the context of our whole code. Really, the Tesla driver is the idiot. I'm always going to point out how everyone else is wrong and think I'm always right, and I hate that. I just fucking hate that. And all of a sudden it hit me. I can't fucking stand myself. And then it hit me that that's no kind of revelation. It is and it isn't. It's not shocking to learn that I can't stand myself. I've been struggling with alcohol for like my whole adult life, half my childhood even, really. Started drinking when I was 15. Every time I get fucking wasted and hate my life and hate myself and hate my lack of control, it's obvious that I hate myself. It's been obvious for so long. So that's what happened. I was walking along, blathering to myself, self-important. Those who talk to themselves are pretty self-important, I think. I think maybe that's part of it. I mean, the isolation, the loneliness, the need to be heard, the social isolation. I mean, these are part of it. You see a homeless guy walking down the street talking to himself, you shouldn't necessarily just see an arrogant prick. See, here I'm doing it, I'm sorry. Part of what you should see is the equivalent of that bird in the pet store that has picked itself bald. It's overgroomed, it's socially isolated. It doesn't have other birds to be with in a healthy environment of other birds, and that's essentially the same thing with the man who's talking to himself. Grooming is social. The bird overgrooms itself, the man talks to himself. It's not all that different to me. You gotta like kind of step way back and abstract away and look at it, but I don't know. Maybe I'm being arrogant. Yeah, no, that was it. It was like, holy shit. Yeah, you fucking hate yourself. No wonder you drink. I don't know if there's anything useful in all of that. I hope so. I hope that doesn't sound like false modesty. I just don't know. Oh, I'm just scared to let you go. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you for considering. Oh man, what am I gonna do with me?